Dear friends, in our series of ophthalmology lectures, I have kept the best for the last. Refractive errors is very interesting, almost something which you can identify with. Most of you will have refractive errors and would have met an eye doctor and would have done a refraction and prescribed glasses which you have been using till now. You can easily understand how your vision is with glasses and without glasses. And many of your friends, family members, relatives would also be having this kind of refractive error for which they use glasses or certain times contact lenses. And in selective instances, they would have undergone a laser procedure called LASIK, and you would have been an accompaniment of them and would have firsthand experienced these instances. So now in this series of 4 lectures on refraction, we are going to understand how the eye suffers from these errors. How do we identify them? What will happen if we don't identify them? And should we have an opportunity to correct it? What is the modality we will follow? So this is the aim of these lectures. To understand eye as a camera, then you'll have to understand that parallel rays of light that come from the distance will focus on the retina, on the light sensitive layer of the retina, which is called the sentient layer of the retina. We call it the sentient layer of the retina. We get an exact focus on the retina, especially the macular area, preferably the foveola. You remember the retina class where we discussed that there is a macula in which there is a fovea, in which there is a central pit called foveola, which is the seat of vision, the ultimate seat of vision, where this parallel rays of light get focused and get seen high definition by our eyes. And this should happen with accommodation at rest. You should not be accommodating for that. For distant vision, you should not accommodate. When you then tend to see something near you, then you will accommodate. We will discuss that separately. Don't confuse that here. Understand that basically by refractive errors, we mean that in a emmetropic state, which is a perfect state, an emmetropic state, which is a good state, the person will, when he is seeing something at a distance, when his accommodation is at rest, the parallel rays of light from the distance fall exactly on his foveola and create very good vision. Should that not happen for some reason, we'll presume the cornea is more curved, or the lens is bit cataractous, or the lens is bit subluxated, or the retina is bit farther away because of a big eyeball, or retina is earlier because of a small eyeball. For all these multitude of reasons, there can be a situation where parallel rays of light get focused either in front of the retina or behind the retina, or multiple images, one in front and one behind. Like this can happen, and those are called refractive errors, which are collectively referred to as emmetropia. We refer them collectively as emmetropia. So emmetropia is an instance where emmetropia is not there, and the parallel rays of light which fall on the patient's eye when the eye is at rest, when the accommodation of the eye is at rest, form odd images either in front of the retina or behind the retina, or one in front and one in behind. In such a situation, the patient ends up with very blurred vision. So the vision of the patient is compromised here. That is the biggest worry. And that compromise will lead to refractive errors, and this we collectively refer to as emmetropia. Emmetropia is a good state. Emmetropia is an odd state. Emmetropia should be checked up and corrected with glasses. For example, there is a question like, which is the commonest preventable blindness in children? Then the answer is refractive errors. There are lakhs and lakhs of our children studying in schools, primary schools, And in that instance, if they have refractive errors, they cannot see the blackboard properly and their academic performance takes a beating. We consider those babies dull. But all you have to do is some doctor has to check up the eyes of the baby, identify that the baby has a refractive error, adequately refer so that the refraction is done, a glasses is prescribed, and the child uses that glasses. Once the child starts using the glasses, the same blackboard becomes crystal clear, and the child's school performance also becomes better. So that much importance refractive error has, because it's such a widespread problem amongst all of us. It doesn't have any no race, no color, no rich or poor, no educated, uneducated, no divided to a base. It is common for all. And emetropia is usually a rarity. We have some form of emetropia in us, which can be easily corrected with a pair of glasses. Okay. So continuing that identity of emetropia, I'm sure you will be very familiar with myopia, hyperopia, and astigmatism. So what is myopia? Myopia is parallel rays of light come to a focus in front of the retina. Can you see? In front of the retina, it is focused. So it is blurred. The vision is blurred. So this is myopia. So if somebody asks you to define myopia, you'll have to say parallel rays of light are brought to a focus in front of the retina. Similarly, parallel rays of light brought to a focus behind the retina, that is called hypermetropia. So hypermetropia is parallel rays of light coming to a focus behind the retina. In fact, colloquially, myopia is referred to as short-sightedness, and hypermetropia is referred to as far-sightedness. Okay. Next, you will also know that if you have to use some corrective glasses like a concave lens in the case of myopia, this can be corrected. This concave lens is called a minus lens. Okay. Similarly, a plus lens or a convex lens used for hypermetropia will correct it. Will correct this error and bring the image perfectly on focus on the retina. That is what we aim at. And this effort of correcting this image to the retina is called refraction. We do refraction to get this value and give it as glasses. Okay. Another refractive error is astigmatism, where the corneal curvature is bit odd. Can you see this cornea? Can you see this part of the cornea and this part of the cornea? Do you understand that the curvature is bit odd? Because of that, an image is formed in multiple orientation. Like there is an horizontal image and there is a vertical image, which are not overlapping one over the other. They are bit separated. So the patient has a very odd refractive error called astigmatism, which you will get corrected if you use cylindrical lenses. So there is a special form of lenses called cylindrical lenses, which is used to correct astigmatism. So astigmatism, I am sure, will be bit tough for you to understand. So I've used some more images to make you clear about astigmatism. See the crisp A here. If the corneal curvature is bad in a particular person, the corneal curvature is bad, then he has a fuzzy image of the same A. It's not like he's not seeing, he's not blind, he's seeing that A, but he's not seeing it clearly, and that will be like very much like compromised in nighttime driving. Can you see the road, the highways in the night? Can you see for a normal person? And can you see for an astigmatism person? Like everything becomes a streak of light. Now nothing is a point image. Can you see that headlight is not a point headlight? It is a streak of light. And these kind of streak of lights is characteristic of astigmatism, and it's a very bothering refractive error which needs cylindrical glasses. Now I take you to one another interesting refractive error. I'm sure you'll all know, because some of your parents, or rather all of your parents will be having glasses for reading. Have you noticed it? They will have difficulty when they're reading. When you ask them to read something, you show them something, then they will tend to keep it very far off from them. They'll stretch their hand and keep it very far off from them so that they can read it. That effort is very obvious when they see the watch for the time, or when they see a visiting card for their phone number, or when they see the phone, even their cell phone for small messages in small text. So in that situation, certain times they'll even come to you for help. They'll say like, read this properly and tell me what it is actually. That kind of difficulty usually happens to all of us once we cross 40 years of age, and that is called presbyopia. In presbyopia, distance vision is not compromised. That is the important thing. Okay, don't think that presbyopia is equal to hypermetropia. No, presbyopia and hypermetropia are totally different. Hypermetropia is farsightedness, where you have a image formed for parallel rays of light behind the retina. That is not here. That is not here in this presbyopia person. In the presbyopia person, parallel rays of light from distance are perfectly focused. But only the light rays from objects which are held at close to them, like at the reading distance. Understand this. This 33.1, 33 and 1/3 centimeters, no, the normal reading distance, which is 1/3 of a feet, 1/3 of a meter, or rather 1 feet, sorry, 1 feet or 1/3 of a meter. This kind of reading distance becomes very difficult for the person, and the person tends to keep the book away from them to read it. And that happens because of their lens apparatus. The crystalline lens becomes aged, and its zonules become bit stiff, and the effort of accommodation becomes difficult. Accommodation is in a capacity by which we use our eye like a zoom camera. We can zoom into something which is very small and near also, or we can zoom into something which is far off also. This kind of zoom nature is not there after you cross 40, especially for something which is very close to us, and that is called presbyopia. And presbyopia needs reading glasses, which are called bifocal glasses. So if I say bifocal glasses, then it means a person is presbyopic. Okay. Now a slide on certain interesting testing methods and instrumentation. Okay, this what you see here is the Snellen chart which you use for vision, and very similar to this you have a chart for reading also. So the person will test your distance vision and near vision, and make you sit in front of an autorefractometer. Have you noticed? They'll make you sit in front of an autorefractometer and check your eye power, because autorefractometer is a computerized refraction mechanism which tends to judge your refractive power by its digital refraction. But it need not be necessarily accurate. So you'll have to double check it and then decide what glasses you are going to wear. You cannot just sit in front of an autoref, take the printout from that and take a pair of glasses on that. It cannot happen because it can certain times overestimate or underestimate your refractive power. So then how will you do it properly? You will have to do it in a manual way, and this manual way is called retinoscopy. Can you see the person is using a retinoscope to judge your eyes and try to see through your pupil and judge a shadow. This shadow is called the refraction shadow. Okay, the refraction shadow. And this shadow, they will want to see whether it's moving with their movement of their retinoscope, or is it moving away. And with that judgment, they use plus lenses or minus lenses to neutralize that reflex. So that is what they're doing. They are looking at a shadow in your eye, pupil, and judging by the movement of that shadow to the movement of the retinoscope, they tend to correct it with plus or minus lenses, and from there deduce what your spectacle power will be. Okay, and the neutralization endpoint will be where there will be no movement and the whole pupil will be illuminated by the light. And traditionally we were using mirror retinoscopes. Traditionally. Now we are using streak retinoscopes. They are called streak retinoscopes. Okay, so this is the act of retinoscopy or refraction which is used to check glasses and prescribe you glasses. Thank you. So now we have introduced you to what is emmetropia, what is ametropia, and what are the types of emetropias we know of. And should you have emetropias, what are the refraction methods which we have to deduce what kind of emetropia you are suffering from, and how to correct it with a pair of glasses, and what power of glasses will suit you. And that calculation is done by refraction. And refraction and refractive errors is in a way a common question in the examination also. There will be certain times objective questions or short notes or even full questions like myopia can be a full question for you. So please be thorough with these chapters, and I will take you through another three PowerPoints on refraction. And then should you have any doubts or clarifications, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.